Okay, we've got Spider-Man of this world with an Avengers costume. This is a very interesting crossover. I'm sorry, but Luffy's kind of cool as a villain. He really is. Oh my god. Hey guys, it's your girl Aisha, aka GeekXX Chic, and we are back with another reaction to Invincible Season 2. We're now into episode 8, which is called I Thought You Were Stronger. So the last episode was a bit of a trial for Mark, really. We saw that he's been trying to balance this whole superhero thing along with his personal obligations, and they weren't really working out well, particularly his relationship with Amber, and he was doing his best to try to create some work-life balance, as it were, but then all that was thrown out of whack again when a Viltrumite woman by the name of, what was her name again? I can't even remember. It doesn't matter. Anyway, she showed up as part of General Krieg's mandate to try to get Mark on board to help take over Earth. She went there, threatened Amber, but also caused a lot of damage, beat the crap out of Mark. But, you know, kudos to Mark. He stood on his own, stood his ground, and refused to let her bully him into submission. She left because, of course, she's not allowed to take Mark out. So anyway, she goes back to the ship and lets the General Krieg know that both the Grayson men are very stubborn and refusing to play ball. And back on Earth, we see that this incident with the Viltrumite is the last straw for Amber. She just doesn't think she can continue to do this, that it's just a little too much of not feeling like she's having a connection with Mark or being able to deepen her connection with Mark, but also this added danger that just comes with dating him. They end up breaking up, which again, as I mentioned, was pretty inevitable. I'm sad to see it, but it is what it is. And I think, as I said, I don't think we're going to be seeing much of Amber anymore, which is sad, but it is what it is. We move forward. And then we ended the episode with the return of Mr. Levy. We haven't seen him in a while. He's threatening Mark's mom, and Oliver. So we're get to see what's going on there. We haven't seen what he's been up to or what he's been planning, but I have a feeling that he's been putting some pieces in place on how to take Mark down. We know from way back earlier in the season that he was looking at other versions of Mark and figuring out how those versions of Mark were ever captured. And I'm guessing that he's taken a bunch of these different lessons and he's planning kind of a big overall trap for Mark now that he's back. So anyways, I'm interested to see what's going on with him because yeah, he was kind of our original big bad that disappeared. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. But just before I do, a reminder that if you'd like to be notified of when I do uploads of this show and anything else you might be watching of mine, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. And please show some love to the video if you're feeling it, because your girl really appreciates it. Thank you so much. All right, that out of the way, let's get into the episode right now. Is this a drill? So Nolan's recovering.
Seems you've passed inspection. Finally fit for your execution.
So it's been a minute. Ew. We all know you're not going to execute him, so stop it. Actually, I may not say that. This is this show. Maybe they will.
He made me call you. He said he'd hurt us if we didn't. Mark.
He was talking to me.
Let them go.
Right? He's here.
I don't know why you're here, but I'm warning you.
Don't warn.
You really don't remember who I am.
Well, you look a little messed up since the last time we saw you, bro.
When we met before, you hadn't done this to me.
You did, well.
You're that guy.
That guy.
That guy? You remember of me?
I mean, yeah.
I didn't do anything to you. Your machine blew up.
You did this!
Oh, the baby.
I had the best doctors in a dozen dimensions. They saved my life, rebuilt my body, but even they couldn't fix this!
Yeah, that's a bit rough.
Come get me.
This isn't the place. Guys, this isn't the place, Mark. Okay, we still have to work on not letting ourselves be baited. Because God knows where he sent you. Or when.
Oh, shit.
Yep. Oh, hell, he sent you way back. Hey, have you ever fought dinosaurs?
My word, how is this possible?
Not talking dinosaurs.
Stay back. No one's eating me.
Egads!
Egads! I haven't heard that word since I read an Archie comic.
You brute, if it talks, it...
Fuck you, brute. Not British. British dinosaurs. That's great. Oh, he brought you back. I thought he was gonna leave you there.
You know, I haven't encountered him in any other reality yet. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, even the baby's like, I sense evil when I know it. But the other way around.
I have no intention of hurting your brother or your mother.
I feel like this is what's gonna bring out baby Oliver's powers.
So do them a favor and die.
Oliver!
No!
Seriously, Lenny? He's a baby! I mean, he would have been fine, but it's not the point. Mark, we learned nothing from the last time? Okay, we've got Spider-Man of this world with an Avengers costume. This is a very interesting crossover. And a Doc Ock. Oh, how convenient.
Talk about your bad luck, Prof. Ock.
Oh, shit.
Prof Ock.
I didn't mean to...
Okay.
I saw the portal. I know you're from another dimension. Got way too much experience with that, especially lately. So,
It's gonna be okay.
There's no way to know that for sure. What
Okay,
kind of
but-
mother lies to her son like that?
Every mother in the world. I'm sorry yours didn't love you. Not the webbing still on his back. Have we learned our lesson yet, Mark?
I've got a dimension all picked out where the ground is 8 stories lower than it is here.
Damn. I'm sorry, but Lovey's kind of cool as a villain. He really is. Okay, are we gonna breathe now, Mark?
You are a good person trying to do a good thing.
Trying to save you? After all the pain and suffering you've caused?
Not him, his variants. This is the part with him having so many consciousnesses. He doesn't even remember which is real and which one is his own experience.
Justice will come for you. For all the friends we've lost to your senseless
Yeah,
cruelty,
see, they're
for
all
the families
merging,
you've
but
torn.
this sucks because Mark doesn't realize about his other. I wish he could figure that out.
Chainsaw's scared.
Interesting name for a dog?
I'll kill the boy quickly.
Damn, Mark. I'd venture to say it was actually worse than Nolan. Damn, he's carrying a lot of people's pain, though. A lot of people's pain. I think Mark needs to see this. Not that I'm saying it's his fault, but he needs to see this. But how could he even show him? Never mind. Not the blood rain. Jeez, Mark.
All right? I won't even fight back.
Oh, Mark.
I appreciate the offer. But what would be the fun in that?
See, and now you're just as bad as the other Marks are.
You can't hurt me with that.
I'm sorry, but Levy is smart. He is so smart.
Every dimension.
Sorry. He should send him to a dimension where he's done the damage. Mark needs to understand. But I guess I keep forgetting Levy's crazy. There's that. Zombies. Just wouldn't be a Kirkman production without some zombies, eh? He is good with those portals, you gotta admit.
In so many other dimensions, you join your husband and son when they slaughter millions and make the earth burn.
Damn, that's a wake-up call.
Your family's legacy is blood.
Man, sir, that's not hygienic. Yeah, but this is not her though, bro.
He's the boy who defied his father.
That's right.
And saved this planet. I know the son I raised, and he is no killer.
Yeah, different.
Because you turned out rotten here, and Mark is the hero for once.
Oh, not her going for the straight truth. Damn, Debbie, no. Okay, I think this is when Oliver's gonna have to do some shit. You are right now, bro. Oh my god!
Oliver.
Oliver mess him up.
I'm going to make your son hurt.
But what did the baby have to do with any of this? You gotta go down, Levy.
Make this child.
And that's villain stuff. Damn, Levy. You had a point up until then.
As soon as I come out,
Not him having a campfire discussion.
who dresses like a bat? And your name is...
Catman.
You know, I mean, like, don't you think that's kind of lazy?
Not the shade, but true.
I wasn't in the mood.
Oh my God, is that like Mad Max? He's like, you coming? You deserve this, Levy. The child and the mom had nothing to do with this.
The ones who rebuilt my body?
They made him strong.
Gonna die in some random dimension?
You gotta admit, this was a plan. I said that Levy would have had a plan. And this is a pretty solid plan.
I wanna do it myself!
Those randoms, my God, people just catching fades left, right, and center for just existing. But really, Levy, you realize that this is not even a true victory because this is not even the mark that you're pissed at. Mark's been beaten up by 2 Viltrumites in like less than 2 years, sir. He is built for this now.
How much I've been holding back?
I think he does, actually. He's the one person who does know exactly how much you're holding back, Mark. There it is. There's the Nolan.
Hurt my family! Ah!
You gotta ask for that, Levy. You asked for that. Wow, Mark. That is the most Nolan you've ever been. Now, how do you get home? Yeah. Brain matter and everything all over you. For real, how do you get home? Yeah, that should make you sick. That at least gives me some comfort. Don't rub that into your eyes, sweetie.
I thought you were stronger.
Nope, that's very few things in the universe that are stronger than you, Mark. Just like that, Levy's gone. That sucks. He was a good villain. He was. Can someone get this woman some medical attention, please? I think they can save the arm, right? They have to. They can rebuild bodies.
Where's Mark?
Yeah, good question.
Let's
And he
get you
killed
some
his only way home, unfortunately. Unless there's another version of Levy out there somewhere that he missed.
Oh God, oh God, oh God.
You haven't learned how to do that Viltrumite trick of just flicking that blood away, huh?
He made me do it.
No, you chose to, but he definitely pushed your buttons.
I did it. I had to. I had no other choice.
Damn. Whew, Mark, I feel for you, bro. This is a lot.
I lost control.
You did.
I wanted to kill him.
You did. And that's fair.
What does that make me?
Human.
Oh God.
I feel for you, Mark. This sucks.
He took me here and I killed him. I'm stuck here.
Just figuring that out, huh?
I'm stuck forever.
Probably not. I think you just need to take a nap, Mark. For now. I don't even know the amount of therapy it's going to take to help work through this, pal. And sadly, Nolan would be the best person to talk to you about it.
Council states that in order for a Viltrumite to be executed, he must be whole and intact.
And you beat him up again.
Return him to his cell.
Yes, General Krieg.
I thought you were...
Don't try anything.
Shut up.
I accepted my fate long
So it's
ago.
like the mustache thing, like government issue? Is that what has to happen now?
My plan worked. What? Remember me? Yes. Why are you here?
I'm here for you.
For you, man. I'm here for you. Talk soon.
Why do I kind of like this Prison Break story? I'm looking forward to it. Meanwhile, in Mark's mental break,
Just keep on ignoring the fact that you killed someone.
I mean, that's how you have to cope right now. Exactly.
Although I don't think talking to yourself is the best thing right now.
Hey, sometimes you're the sanest person around.
His body could somehow still...
What's this greenness? What's going on? What's this? Oh, these are old versions.
Whoa. I'm sorry, I don't understand.
How long have I been here?
It just happened.
Maybe for you. For us, it was 20 years ago.
Damn, that's how... Adam Eve needs to get some moisturizer, because goddamn.
We've already said too much. Any more and we could disrupt the time stream.
You gotta go back. Oh, but it's good to know the monster girl's still around. They figured it out, I guess.
I love you, Mark. I should have told you.
Okay. Now we know in the new world you will. You'll get together. Moving on.
Tell her you love her,
Or tell her you don't love her. Just tell her something. Tell her something so that she can go on with her life.
Because that's on Mark? Okay. There you go. That's tampering with the future, by the way. But it was already going to happen, so. How does Rex look better than all y'all?
I suppose you weren't paying attention when we discussed not
Exactly. Thank you. Selfish. But anyway, it's fine. That's his intended true love or whatever.
I'll give you some time.
Thanks, Cecil.
Thanks.
I appreciate everything.
Something tells me that baby's not leaving this facility, though.
I'm okay, Mark.
He's not.
Oh, Mark.
No, he needs his mama. Kind of needs his dad right now, too, though.
If you're looking for some alone time, this isn't the most secluded place in the world, kid.
Is any place secluded from you and your warping in and warping out ass,
You
sir?
didn't have a choice. Don't beat yourself up over it.
He should, a little bit. Because it's not cool, even if it was necessary.
You didn't cross the line. You kept your mom and your brother safe. End of story.
I don't know, Cecil.
Stop. Mark, look at me.
I don't think Cecil's the one to give this
The
speech.
bad guys are dead and the good guys are alive. That's a good day.
Is it?
How do you know the difference?
Exactly. I mean, Levy was a bad guy, but we don't have to trivialize the fact that Mark did something crazy and something that was against his moral code.
You weren't there.
Exactly. And he did literally beat this man to death. Again, it wasn't even about Levy, but I don't want Mark to just dismiss it. He shouldn't.
And I fix problems. It's what I'm good at. It's who I am.
I like this. I like that he's like not apologizing for who he is.
I get that fixing stuff is your thing, and I get that you want to help. Just talk to me first, like a person.
Fair.
And not just about what's wrong with me.
Yeah, maybe other stuff.
Like maybe ask me out on another date sometime.
Oh. Would you like to?
Cute. They might actually get to go to prom after all. I want to go back to the prison. What?
I'm sorry. I never told you.
What? Huh?
I never told anyone.
You hid the real Kate?
Oh, just in case.
Smart. So smart.
I was so tired of dying.
I'm actually kind of happy about it.
Become someone else. But I couldn't.
Because
of you.
Aw, y'all can have your nice little love nest out here. Seriously, Cecil will make her go back, so don't tell anybody.
I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner.
It's okay.
Right? He's just happy you're not dead, man. Scarab, that's terrifying. What are you digging up now? These never go well when people dig up ancient shit. Stop it. Oh, all that musty, ancient, evil air. Oh, so no way out. That's smart.
Come on. We'll find another way out.
Or you'll die in there. We didn't plan this, did we? Maybe you should find somebody with powers with X-ray vision.
Who will succumb to my influence?
Not me.
Wait. You're both female.
Yes, and? Is that a
And?
problem? Yeah.
I must inhabit a living male host.
Well, he died. Too bad. Just out here breaking sound barriers and destroying stuff, Mark. Well, where are you going, Mark? What are you doing? Can't outrun your feelings, Mark. Or outfly them. Yep, that's gonna be with you for a while. I know, I feel like, I don't know, Amber would probably be someone to talk to, but at the same time, I don't know that she'd be able to help you with this either, bro. Oh, you feel so alone. How many times do we have to rebuild houses in this damn neighborhood? They still haven't even fixed the one across the street.
Gas leak blew up the house across the street last year.
I know, y'all should move.
Good to be home, right, Oliver?
Is it? Might be a dramatic place for him now. The way they make it look like nothing happened, that's almost worse. Isn't that crazy? Like, it's supposed to be comforting, but it's oddly weird and disconcerting.
We should get dinner going. You've got class tomorrow, right?
Class, like he gives a crap about that right now. But he does have to go back to school, or he's really gonna have to quit.
I was starting to feel like we were getting close to some version of normal.
I mean, this is your normal. Constant disruption of your constant.
I'm quitting college.
Yeah.
Mark.
I think it's the right thing to do.
A lawyer? A coder? Why would I do any of that?
The word is developer. Thank you very much. And honestly, at this point, I agree.
Everything I can do. Tell me why I need to go to college.
Right? Like, really? College is arbitrary at best anyway.
I have to learn how to control myself. It's important.
It is important.
I have to get better. I have to be better.
That's why you're already steps ahead of your father, at least at this point in his life.
Oh my God, Mark.
Tamperer.
How are you, though?
Completely awful. Thanks for asking. This isn't the time, Mark.
It's nothing. I'm sorry.
Tamperer aside, this isn't the time. You need to get yourself together before you even think about jumping into anything else as deep as a relationship.
I'm here, alien.
It's Alan?
Come on, man. It's Alan.
Period.
You turned against the Empire. Mark told me all about it. You saw Mark?
Mm-hmm, for friends.
Leave him out of this. This isn't his fight.
It is now.
Let the boy have a moment of peace.
Never happening.
I'm not a Viltrumite anymore. Not really.
Exactly why you need to help Mark.
Shame and regret for my actions.
Good. Growth.
The pain and destruction I caused was
It was.
immeasurable.
But you know what you can do? You can make up for it because you live long enough to actually compensate.
What I did to my son.
He forgives you, you know.
I deserve death.
You do, but
Oh, God. And yet,
you don't want to die, do you?
I think
Not out loud.
I miss my wife.
Which one? You got a couple there, Nolan, buddy. You're going to have to be a little more specific with us. Although I think we already know he means Deb, but that's going to be a complicated story we can't even get into right now. But I feel like if anyone's going to take him back, it'll be Deb. She is still obsessed with Nolan, even if she's still very much trying to deal with all of her emotions around it. But anyhow, wow, guys, I think this is probably the best episode of the show ever, in my opinion. That might be premature, but I definitely think this one was writing-wise and development-wise one of the best ones yet, by far. And so many reasons for that. There's so much in this episode to unpack, but I'm going to try to keep this review from being 1,000 years long. I really like that this got into the reality of how crazy it is to take a life, how crazy it is to cross that line of taking someone's life, even if it's in self-defense, even if it's justified. It's not something that's natural, and it's not a human trait that we have. And I would even venture to say it's not even normal for a Viltrumite, but for Nolan, it's just so far removed that he no longer identifies with it. But coming back to this, I'm kind of sad we lost Levy, and only in the sense of, as I said, I think he was a really good villain. Like, he definitely played the part well. I absolutely love the voice actor as well. I think Sterling's amazing. But all the same, I just think he would have been a really cool villain to have watched over time. But I get it. You know, we got a lot going on in Mark's world right now, and Nolan's having this other villain on top of it, I guess, was a bit too much. But I really liked, first of all of the characters that were focused on in this episode. Actually, amazing job. Like Levy, even though we only got him for a small amount of time, him, what he's dealing with, having all these consciousnesses all emerged into his brain, the fact that he didn't know whose reality he was living anymore because they were all in there, the pain that he was feeling, the anger, all of it very righteous towards the Marks. Not this Mark, but the Marks. And when we see all those flashbacks of how vile and hateful and spiteful and completely devoid of compassion and empathy that the other Marks were, it's understandable that for him, he just didn't have anything left for Mark. And it's just not just one, right? This was multiple angstroms that were in there feeling this collective anger, pain, and grief all in one place, like it just feeding off of each other and amplified it. It's no wonder that unfortunately that manifested itself into him being completely devoid of empathy. The fact that he was hurting Debbie, the fact that he was going to hurt that baby, like that pushed him solidly into villain territory. Like that's where I could walk with them up until that point and walk with them in the sense of understanding where the pain was coming from. But as soon as you turn around and take that same energy and put it towards other innocents, that's where you lose me, because it's like, you know what it feels like to be on the side of that pain, to inflict that on other innocent people. You know, that's where you lose me entirely. But anyways, I'm glad that they showed us why Angstrom was here, what brought him to this place, and sadly the madness that he was dealing with because of all these consciousness being locked in this one place and not being able to experience their own experience. And that the Angstrom that was the good one, the one that didn't have that level of pain and hurt. He just was overwhelmed. There was too much of the other for him to be able to fight it and be able to keep control of what was happening. And it sucks that because of that, he just had to end it in one way or another. And I mean, I know that death was probably the only way for him because they said they couldn't fix it. He said he went to how many different dimensions hoping they could somehow separate it or fix this, but there was no way that they could do it. They couldn't figure it out. So I don't think there really was going to be peace for him in any other way. I mean, maybe if he is sent someplace else, maybe there was a dimension he could have kept finding, or eventually would have found, I should say, that would have eventually figured out a way to give him peace. But unfortunately, those inner demons won, and he came back and he tried to get his revenge and put Mark through the paces. And that kind of dovetails into Mark, who was absolutely the bulk of this episode, which I'll get to him in a minute. I think I'm going to go to Nolan first, because since Mark was a big part of this, I kind of want to spend my time with him. We only touched a bit on Nolan this episode, but we got to see that he has healed up fully. His back was still broken the last time we looked at him, but now he's fully healed, and we see that he should be going up for that execution that everyone keeps promising him. But we already know as an audience, Krieg does not want him gone. Like, that's one of their strongest soldiers, and they're very much low on strong soldiers right now. And so he really hopes that Nolan is going to switch, he's going to somehow come to his senses at the last minute. Him beating up Nolan there at the end was purely because he wants to continue to delay this execution. But thankfully, Alan has showed up. Alan showed up, and Nolan, of course, is like, who are you? What do you want? But Alan's just like, bro, like, I'm here to help you. Like, I'm here to get you out. Like, we need you. Hearing what you did on Thraxa, you're the kind of person we need. You're the person that me and Optimus Prime back on my planet, we need you. And we need to figure out a way to get you out of here. And we see that Nolan is having a bit of an existential crisis, a bit like what Mark is going through, but in reverse. And he's like, yeah, well, I'm not a Viltrumite anymore. Maybe I should die, right? Maybe this is what I deserve because I can't be a Viltrumite, but I've also done all these horrible things. And the weight of what I've done has finally hit me, and it's starting to continue to hit me, and I'm not feeling so good. And I'm realizing that there's not much I can do. Like, there's no measure for the amount of pain and suffering that I caused the people on Earth. And I mean, he's just mentioning Earth, but we all know that there's been plenty of planets before that. But anyhow, the point is, it's a process for Nolan, and it's going to take time. But as I said in the episode, while he can never fully make up for what he did, the lives he took, the way he just recklessly destroyed so much, he has the unique ability to make amends for a very, very, very long time. Right? Like, my guy, he's practically immortal. So he could spend easily the next 300-400 years helping to rebuild, helping to protect, do so many things to show atonement for what he did. And that's one way to think about it. Unlike the average human who would only have so many more years to try to even attempt, Nolan could literally put the time and effort into it for, like I said, centuries to come, which is just a beginning. I mean, again, it doesn't wipe away what he did. It doesn't make it right, but it's a start. But anyhow, we see that he's saying that that's kind of what he's dealing with and why he's kind of accepted this fate. But Alan's kind of saying to him, like, Mark, he still believes in you. Like, he's still out there fighting the good fight, and you kind of started this. So really, you kind of have a responsibility to get out there and help him. And really, like, your help, any Viltrumite we can get, especially one of the strongest and baddest who understand them better than anyone, you're the ultimate weapon against them. So I need you to kind of pick it up, and stop being such a whiner. And I think Alan's like the perfect person to talk Nolan into this, because Alan is not stupid, but he's very simple. And I think Nolan kind of needs someone to simplify and take away all the other extraneous stuff and be like, bro, here's the situation. Here's what you can do. Let's stop feeling sorry for ourselves and get going. But I like this, and I kind of want to see how this prison break goes. I noticed that Alan's being very quiet about the fact that he can now put up a decent fight against a Viltrumite. Maybe not to Nolan. I don't know if it varies based on the age of the alien, but no, maybe, because the chick, Anissa, I think her name is, they said that she was older than Nolan or stronger than Nolan. So he gave her a run for her money. So anyway, but yeah, we'll have to see how that prison break situation goes. I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be funny to watch those two work together, just because it will be, but I'm looking forward to it. But I think one of the most poignant lines we get out of Nolan in this episode is, I think I miss my wife. And I think we knew that from the get-go, but Nolan actually admitting that out loud, the fact that Debbie is not the same. I think that Nolan's probably taken many wives in his life, but this one affected him. This is the one that really is the one who touched his heart. And because she And we know why. She challenged him. Her influence is really what has changed Nolan over that time he was on Earth, which we heard in the last episode, Krieg referring to it as a minor moment, right? Just a speck of life compared to what they live. But it was a meaningful moment. And Deb's still out there. And he feels bad. He feels bad about how he treated her. He feels bad about hurting her, all those things. So these are all things showing that Nolan is coming more in touch with what I'm going to say is a true Viltrumite, because they don't talk about this a lot in the show. But if you think back to season 1, when Nolan was explaining what happened on their planet, half of their population didn't agree with this whole supreme leader, very third year Reich type way that they were taking on the planet. Like, they were not down with that cause, and they ended up dying for that. But I venture to say that most Viltrumites were probably actually much like humans, that they loved and they were kind and they kind of wanted to mind their own business and live their lives. So I feel like Nolan's actually getting in touch with what a true Viltrumite was, not this weird, nasty clone situation that they've tried to create since. So anyway, I'm interested to see how that goes. I'm interested in Nolan's, if there is a redemption path, what it's going to be. I think that could be interesting to watch as he goes through these feelings, as well as like figuring out how he's going to make his next moves in this kind of new territory for him. But he obviously could be the path for, because I don't think he's alone, for the record. I don't think Nolan, he's not, obviously. We know that Optimus Prime is another example. And I'm sure there are other Viltrumites that are out there right now that feel the same way as Nolan, but feel trapped. So he's going to be the beacon, if anything, if he gets it together, to show the other Viltrumites what they can do to start, resisting the Empire and being like, actually, no, I don't want to do this anymore, and you can't make me. So yeah, I'm interested in seeing that part of the story whenever that comes about for Nolan. And then finally, going on to Mark, this was a really hard episode for him. This was, as I said, I really, really appreciate that the show did not hold back on how difficult and emotionally traumatizing and stressful and crazy taking a human life is, even if that human life is worthy of that death. And I think we could say that's true. Like I said, as soon as Mr. Levy started torturing innocent women and children, that's what I was like. I mean, he didn't actually do anything to the baby, thank God, but he was going to. And that's what I'm like, yeah, no, you got to go, sir. And again, as I said before, I don't think there was any other way for him, but it doesn't make it any easier. And what he'd put Mark through just before that, going through all those dimensions, having to fight his way out or deal with all these emotional ups and downs of going through that while worrying about whether or not his mom and brother were getting hurt, knowing that he's the reason that his mom and brother were in danger after literally just breaking up with his girlfriend that he loves because her life was put in danger because of things that have to do with him. There's just so much that's been mounting on Mark since last season, not to mention the guilt that he's feeling over the fact he didn't know what his dad was up to, knowing that he has this pressure from Viltrum and what they want him to do. Like, Mark's just been repressing a lot is the point, like a lot. And a lot of people think that people like Mark, because they tend to be on the kinder side, because they don't complain all the time, because they tend to have a more of a happy-go-lucky disposition, that means that they're fine and everything's okay, but they're not. Like, he's still a human. He still has his point. He still has his levels, his limit to what he can actually handle and what he can emotionally and cognitively take in at any given time. And let's also not forget the fact that he's like 18, 19 years old. He's still a teenager. He isn't even, his brain, his frontal lobe isn't even finished developing, okay? And he's dealing with all of this. And yeah, what Angstrom put him through at the end, it was his breaking point. Like, something had to give eventually, and Angstrom was the breaking point. And him letting loose on Angstrom in that world and beating the ever-loving out of him, did he lose control? 1,000%. Should he have held back? 1,000%. Was that not like one of the most violent and savage ways to take a person out? Absolutely. But was it because Mark is a savage? No. Is it because Mark enjoyed it? No. Is it because Mark even wanted to? At the deepest level? No. But it was something that was there. It was a matter of so many things culminating to a point where it had to break somewhere, and this was the breaking point, and Angstrom was the collateral damage, I guess one could say. And I think it's important that Mark recognizes that and doesn't poo-poo it away. Like, we saw him going through the justification after it happened, like, wait, like, I had to, right? Like, I had to do this, right? I had no choice. I did it because I had to. Like, and I understand that because he's trying to search, like, did I like that? Was that right? Was that the first thing I jumped to? Like, was this my instinct? And he needs to question all those things. He should be questioning all those things. That's how I know that Mark's still okay, is that he is going through those questions and having that conscience and having that emotional and moral dilemma, because it's still wrong. Deserving or no, asking for it or no, it's still wrong, right? Taking a life is not something you should do or do lightly. And I think we can all agree that Mark had no choice. Like it really was kill or get killed. But still, he let loose. The way he did it is really what is giving Mark pause. And it should. And I like that they really let us walk through Mark's emotions and walk through Mark challenging whether or not he could have done things differently. Because truthfully, yes, he could have. He could have maybe seen if there was any way, shape, or form he could have saved him. Maybe. And again, if he was older, a little wiser, had better control over himself and his emotions, which again is totally fair as an 18-year-old. If he had more understanding of how to deal with complete and utter psychopaths, maybe he could have done that. But he didn't have those things. Maybe if he had better control over getting to the point of knowing when you have to take a life when there's no other choice, he could have found a more effective, a more painless way to take him out. That's definitely possible. But Mark has never taken a life before nor wanted to. So there are a lot of ifs, right? There's like, could it have been done better? Could it have been done differently? Of course it could have. But in this particular situation, Mark did the best that he could with what he knew at the time. And eventually he'll hopefully get to the point where he recognizes that's the case. But I'm very happy that they're letting him go through this. And I'm very happy that he is beating himself up a little bit about it, only in the sense of, as I said, morally understanding that he did lose control and that he has to be sure that he is understanding that his losing control is not the same as the average human losing control. I mean, the average human losing control is pretty damaging too, depending on the situation, but you get my point. Mark could literally split the planet in half losing control, right? Point being, he needs to know that that's a real risk with him, and he does have to learn how to not allow himself to be baited, because I mentioned that in the episode. He let Angstrom bait him repeatedly, unfortunately, but I'm not going to get him marked too much for that, because again, he's very young, very new to this whole superhero business. But he knows this now, and he needs to start understanding that so he can do better and be better and not make these mistakes in the future. And I also want him to feel bad about it, because that shows he should never want to take life. That should never be the first option on his agenda. That should never be a thing where life becomes so meaningless to him that he can do what his dad did back in the last season, just wipe out lives and take life. We saw the other versions of Mark just taking life like it's nothing, executing people like it's nothing. We don't want that Mark to appear. And one of the ways to make sure that never happens is for him to always feel like he's feeling right now, if it ever comes to him having to take a life. It should be something that makes him nauseous and gives him pause, right? So I really like that they allowed him to do that, and that they allowed him to check himself, and to also understand that this is something that's very hard for him to articulate or talk to or express to anyone, because they really don't know what it feels like. Even the other members of the league don't really understand, even though many of them have a similar level of ability. I think for Mark, this is very unique because, yeah, this kid eventually will be able to use his pinky finger to take out like a whole city block, right? So he really has to start to digest that, break it down, and figure out the kind of person he wants to be with these powers. And as I said throughout the episode, I think the only person who could really help him even begin to understand that would be Nolan, believe it or not, because he's the only person who would understand what it's like to have that level of power and keep it reined in. Because even though Nolan did go ham in the last season, he was holding back for the 20 plus years before that. Nolan knows how to keep that in check. Nolan knows how to hold back when necessary. And so that's someone who could give Mark that level of advice that no one else really can, I think. And so I really like that we got to go through that, and we got to see that Mark really kind of has snapped a bit right now, but he's allowed to do that, and he should sit with that for a while. I do think he needs someone to talk to, though. Again, who that is, I don't know if a human psychiatrist could even begin, but maybe that would help. I do think that his mom was a good sounding board as well, because she, of course, being married to Nolan as long as she knows a lot of like what Mark is going through to an extent, and I'm sure she gave Nolan some advice in different ways and times that were very helpful to him. I really like that he was able to just curl into the fetal position and cry with his mom too after everything. He needed that. We all need our moms, people. Moms are invaluable. But anyways, I'm glad that he got to have that moment. But yeah, I just want him to keep talking. I don't want him to feel like he has to pull back and isolate himself during all of this, because that's not good either. But yeah, he needs people to talk to about it. Eve, I'm sure Eve can relate to him right now too, because she's gone through her own little thing recently of losing control and it having dire consequences. I mean, in her case, thankfully the people didn't die, but still, she's had some consequences to her actions recently. So that's good for him there. He can talk to her about that, of course. But yeah, I really like that they did that. I think that they did it really well in this episode, showing the trauma that even Debbie's going to go through from this. I really love that she's become a full-on mother to Oliver too. You know, that the fact that the first thing she worried about, and the only thing she worried about, was protecting Oliver when Angstrom was doing his worst. It just shows the kind of person Debbie is, the heart that she has, the strength she has, the bravery. And like Mark said, she's a lot tougher than she looks, which is another reason why I think that Nolan really respects her, is that she may be fragile, but she is strong, very, very strong. And yeah, we see that Mark was trapped on that planet. We see eventually he gets rescued by the team 40 or 20 years into the future, which, goddamn, that was a hard 20 years because all of them looked horrible. I was like, damn, 20 years from now, like that puts Adam Eve like in her early, like at most early 40s. And she looked, anyway, animation team, they did her dirty. But anyhow, we see they explained to him that he was gone because of that. The reality that they were in went really badly because Mark was gone. So he needs to go back, and they sent him back. And I wasn't sure if they were going to send him back pre-Levy, but they didn't. So that's fine. But we see that Adam Eve tampered with the timeline, and yeah, you know, I'm going to say this one thing about it, and then I'm not going to talk about it again. But you already know I'm team I'm team Amber. I want Amber and Mark. That's what I would have liked. I know it's not going to happen, but this bothers me. I would have much preferred if Mark and Adam Eve just naturally got together. I mean, because the attraction was already there last season, I know that. But I would have preferred if they had just made their way to each other organically. And I don't like the fact that she used that to push things, because she did. She tampered with the timeline. Her going in and basically telling Mark that if you don't tell me that you don't love me or that you love me, I'm going to sit here in single limbo forever. That's not on Mark. That's on you, girl. That's on you. Maybe you should have told Mark how you felt and let him decide if he felt some way about you. But doing it like that? That was selfish. I don't like that. If Amber had done it, I would have done the same thing, by the way. This is not just an Adam Eve thing. Anyone who does that, that was selfish, and I don't like that. But anyways, for me, their relationship's forever tainted for that. So listen, my gut's never been wrong about these relationships, and I can't see me getting behind this ship. But anyways, that's as much as I'm going to say about it. But moving on, we see that they let him know that he has to go back to Earth, and he has to stay there because without him, things go very badly, which they didn't get into details about. But I got to think that Viltrum probably came back and made a mess. But either way, we know that that Earth definitely needs someone who's at an invincible level of power. Otherwise, things go sideways. So yeah, now Mark knows he's got to be a little bit more careful. A lot of lessons from this Angstrom-Levy fight. Let me tell you, a lot of lessons for him in the future. But yeah, that was really good. As I said, I can't say enough about how much I like that they really let Mark sit in this and deal with it and talk through all the nuances of this, because I don't think we see enough of it, especially in superhero shows, right? They usually kind of touch on it for a second, and then a lot of people, oh, you're fine, oh, you're the good guy. Even Cecil's little kind of trying to poo-poo it away, which, I mean, we already know that Cecil's not the most empathetic person anyway, but like, we don't need that. Like, let Mark sit with this. Let's talk about how difficult it is and let him go through this. And I do hope they spend a couple episodes of him dealing with this, or if not a couple episodes, just not tuck it away, because it's a real thing and it's part of his hero journey. So anyway, I've said enough about that. I think it was really well done. I liked it. Kudos to Mr. Yun too. Stephen Yun did a great job voice acting this, because that's not easy to do. But yeah, outside of that, there was only a few other smatterings of things. We had what's his name? Robot and Monster Girl, they made up, which was fine and cute. Kind of a side note, but still a cute little relationship. I'm fine for that. We also had whatever the heck happened at that crypt. I don't know if we need to care about it yet, but they spent a lot of time on that scene. So I guess whoever that person is who came out of the crypt might be a problem, but apparently he needs a body. So a male body. He doesn't want a female. Anyway. And then finally we ended the episode with Duplicate still alive, guys. This is great. That means we actually didn't lose anybody from the Guardians. Not one person. I thought we lost one person. We didn't. Everybody survived somehow, some way. So we found out that Duplicate has actually had one of her duplicates living in and acting as her inside of the team, while the real, or I guess we can say it's Prime. Do we even know if it's Prime at this point? But anyways, someone who's claiming to be Kate Prime has been living in obscurity and trying to start a whole new life outside of the team, which I feel like after dying as many times as she has, that was a solid plan. So anyway, she went and found the Immortal, and yeah, they're back together, and I'm kind of happy for it. I think that the Immortal deserves a little happy, cute time. I don't know if it's their happily ever after at this point, but I think they deserve to have some happiness after everything that they've been through. So yeah, I'm actually for it. I think it's cute. We'll see how much they get to do or if it's going to turn into anything, but I don't know. I feel like Immortal might be able to, can he have kids? Can he have kids? Maybe. If he can, I feel like he's going to start a little family there. I wouldn't be against it. But anyhow, yeah, interesting episode. A lot of heavy topics. Definitely a heavier episode. But as I said, I think, in my opinion, the best one so far. I really liked it. Really good writing, really good storyline. As I said, I love the development for Mark. I'm glad they didn't shy away from it and they took their time and just sat with it. Excellent. I honestly don't have any critiques about this episode. I really, really liked it. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching along with me. I tried not to talk too much, but you know, there's a lot to cover, but I enjoyed it a lot. I hope you enjoyed it too. Please show some love if you did like this video, and I will see you in the next one.